Hello everyone, this is Miriam. Welcome to my Ghanaian channel. This is my first video of 2015. Woo! Very exciting. Thank you so much guys for the support, for being there throughout the year 2014. And obviously this is a different environment, and I'm using my laptop to make this video at the moment. You know, it's a bit more intimate, you know. So for this year 2015, I'm taking this channel to another level in terms of video content. I'm not video content, but in terms of the topics that I cover in my video. I've covered a lot of topics actually on things you should know before going to Ghana, how safe is Ghana, you know, these sort of videos, fun videos, nice videos, and I'll still be making videos that matters like that, you know. But for this year, I have to stay true to who I am as a person, and I will bring more topics that affect us as people, like things that needs to be talked about. Like some things you may not agree, so I don't know, but me, I'm the kind of person who, if there's something wrong or if there's something that I feel needs to be talked about, I'm the kind of person who has to talk about it. You know, some of the things that you see wrong in the world today, the reason why they're going on is because of the lack of communication, also the lack of action, of course. But how can action start without communication first? So that's what I want to do with this channel, and you guys should definitely contribute in the comments. So for this first video of 2015, I'm going to talk about disability in Ghana. How is physical disability seen? I know it's a topic that is not often talked about, but I thought it's something that also needs to be talked. It's something that needs to be talked about. How is disability seen in Ghana? Physical disability, like some people that are blind, people that are physically challenged. And obviously, not every single disabled person is, you know, every single person is different. So I'm not putting everyone in the group. But how as Ghanaians do we perceive people that look different from us? It's something that I believe is lacking in terms of how it's talked about in Ghana. Like, we don't talk about disabilities. Like, hey, we talk about healing, we talk about prosperity, we talk about how to get rich, we talk about all that, but we don't talk about things that matter. Hey, I will calm you down here and I'll talk about things that matters. How is physical disability seen in Ghana? What needs to be done? From my point of view as an African, as someone who has been to Ghana several times, as a Ghanaian, because both of my parents are Ghanaian. So I hope you guys learned something from this video. As Africans, as Ghanaians, you know, I love how we are full of culture. I love how, you know, as Africans, even in West Africa, I love how we are full of culture. How, you know, we believe in what we believe in. You know, you can't tell me what to do. Like, you know, we believe in our customs, we believe in our values as Africans. I love that. But I believe that sometimes this our culture, or the way we, you know, our traditions, or the way, you know, the culture is imposed in us, in the society, the way, you know, we grew up as Africans, as, you know, because also Ghana is a religious country, not religious in just religious sake, but because it's a Christian country, both Muslims and Christians, because a lot of Christians in Ghana, I feel that, you know, sometimes a lot of people can, you know, can let this whole African mentality, custom, it can sometimes blind us to see the reality that's in front of us. It can sometimes let the weak, you know, not take any action because of their culture. It's like, hey, I'm a Ghanaian, this thing, I need to work for it. I need to work hard for it. But I have faith. Because I have faith, I'm just going to sleep all day. So I'm just going to sleep and not take any action, and this thing is going to be done. I feel that a lot of Ghanaians think that way. You know, what if I'm here to tell you that faith is followed by action? I'm going to talk about disability, how this relates to how we see disabled people in Ghana. You know, in Ghana, though you may not believe as a Ghanaian watching me, or as someone who, as an African, in Ghana there are people that are disabled. In villages, people that are basically needs treatment, needs to be seen. But because of the lack of communication when it comes to physical disability, because of the stereotype imposed on them, how Ghanaians, how people see disability, because of the lack of communication, on physical disability in the media, in the society, a lot of people don't know what to do with it. You know, there are a lot of prayer camps in Ghana. If you know what I mean, prayer camps is basically a place where, you know, if someone is sick or whatever, they go to these prayer camps, healing camps, and then you know, sometimes it happens that they get healed. Obviously, I believe in healing, and I believe that there's some conditions that can only be restored through prayer and through deliverance. Definitely. In fact, I believe that in everything that you do, you should pray. What if, as a family member, you brought your niece or whatever that is a bit challenged when it comes to walking or can't really see properly? What if after bringing her to prayer camp several times, like 10 times or 12 times, what after praying and praying and praying and praying, that person is still not healed, but is still not back in their feet? They may be healed, but they're still not back in their feet. What happens then? Are you going to start thinking that, hey, it's the enemy? Are you going to start thinking that they may have some spiritual issues? Are you going to start thinking that the enemy has won over her? Are you going to start thinking, what if, as Ghanaians, it's like we never imagine that God may use someone's condition to glorify himself? What if that person is in this condition so that, you know, God uses that person that is, people would see is nothing, God uses that person to inspire other people in her condition? Why can't you just pause and tell yourself that I'm going to make the best out of you? You know, no matter what people say, I'm going to, you know, you're the head and not the tail. A lot of Ghanaians as well, when it comes to disability and disabled people, you know, because of the lack of communication, the lack of knowledge, because of that thinking that everything that does not look normal is aligned with spirituality, because of that mentality, I believe Ghana is not going forward in terms of making progress, because we start to think that everything that is not normal aligned with spirituality. There may be something wrong with that person. What are we supposed to do as Ghanaians? Are we supposed to see people in conditions that are not like us? Are we supposed to see them as strangers? Are we supposed to be afraid to get closer to them? No, that means we're being childish. We're being childish. Compared to Europe, where you see a lot of people with wheelchairs and stuff like that. In Europe, I don't really see people. In Ghana, I don't really see people with wheelchairs. But that does not mean that there aren't people that, you know, are in these conditions, you know. And I believe also the reason why I don't see that, it may be because sometimes, you know, because of the stereotype that is attached with being physically challenged, or, you know, because, you know, I don't think honestly that Ghana is a disability free friendly country, like in the sense that, you know, if I go to, what if, you know, I have my friend that is in a wheelchair and really needs some assistance? What if that person needs to take the bus or the taxi? Is it going to be easier for them to get into the taxi? Or if they go to shops, to popular shops, or they go to the mall or something, is it going to be easy for them to find their way around as people in this condition? A lot of facilities, or it's not easy to get around for people that really have difficulties walking or stuff. And I saw a report. There's a new series, kind of news series in Ghana. It's called Eyes Right. It's presented by Gifty Ando Apia, the journalist, and the first series of the program focused on a 14-year-old girl in Ghana, in a village in Ghana. A lot of beautiful places, but there are also places where a lot of people suffer. There are a lot of villages and people that really don't get access to treatment and medical stuff. What this program focused on is on a 14-year-old girl. But the thing about this girl is that though she's 14, she looks very, very young for her age. She cannot speak. She's not well. And because of her condition, her mother doesn't know what to do with it. Like, her mother doesn't know about this ability. She don't know if you don't look normal. Like, all the mother knows is that she does not look normal. And what happened is that, you know, this 14-year-old girl was locked in a room. Is locked in a room 24/7 because her family just don't know what to do with her. You know, and obviously there's a lot of medical stuff in Ghana, so in this village. So obviously it's harder for them to get to the big cities and get treatment and all that. So this what this report focused on. Is the question that kept coming in the report is, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that this 14-year-old girl that is, like, literally you can see her that she's not well and is being locked in her room by her mother? Whose fault is it? You know, is it the government's fault? Is it the people that's gone in? Is it because of the lack of knowledge? Whose fault is it? Thinking about it, I believe, you know, obviously I can't speak directly, but I believe as a society has gone is the fact that there's a lack of knowledge when it comes to physical disability. You know, I don't really see many reports about, you know, these these conditions. And I saw another report which really like this. When I saw that, I was like, on Ghana TV, is basically an elderly man. It was a news report, an elderly man who laid down in the street of Ghana, like in the street, while everybody walks, bystanders just walk. He basically doesn't have a home, I believe, and I believe he's crippled, so he's laid down in the street of Ghana as people walk by. So when it rains and the rains pour, and he received all of the rain. And what this report focused on is on the fact that after seeing that, 2 bystanders stopped and called the ambulance for him. But what the report says is that after the ambulance came and picked him up, they picked him up, all right, but then they brought him back to the same place in the street, saying that there's no beds in the hospital. There are no beds in the hospital. And all the bystanders say, if there's no bed, then, bring him to so-and-so place so that he can get shelter. And what one of the ambulance crew said is that he's got no food in his car. So, bro, And when I saw that report, I was like, wow. This shows how disability, or how people that are in such condition are sometimes, not all of them, but some of them are seen as. See, the lack of knowledge that people have about physical disability. There's a lack of information out there, and people that look different than us. It's like if someone looks different and they're ghost to us, and this is something that definitely, I believe from my heart that this is something that needs to be changed. A lot of women that give birth die in the process, and there's a lot of issues when it comes to what are Ghanaians that in Kumasi or Accra, in these big cities, what are they doing to help those? Why are they not being transferred to these local villages? And what are Ghanaians, what are we doing to help our own people? That is the question. We say we are Ghanaians and we are proud to be Ghanaians and blah blah blah, but there's a lot of places in Ghana where it's not really disability friendly in terms of facilities. Why can we create more places for disabled people? Not that we are accepting the condition as if we are accepting, but how can we how can we include those who are physically challenged in the society as Ghanaians? Because I believe that wisdom and knowledge is deeper than physical ability. Someone can be disabled, in terms of not knowing how to walk or some speech problem, but they are smart. And if as Ghanaians we deny this and we are blinded to see that, other people are going to take all the talented ones out of this country, and they're going to be like, what is happening? We should do something about this. Obviously, in Ghana, there are a lot of things that is being done though. So there's the Disability Person Act in Ghana, a set of roles set up by the in Parliament. It's in Parliament, it's the Disability Person Act for the rights of those disabled in Ghana. Some of the regulations are no one should discriminate against a disabled person, no one should subject a person to an abusive or degrading treatment, and many more regulations. But are there being shouldn't there be more talk about it? Kind of bunch of regulation actually make up for the lack of knowledge there is about these things. Faith without action is dead, right? Let's start thinking as grown people, as Ghanaians, and involve everyone in the progress and the growth of Ghana. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and really just keep the conversation going. This conversation does not end. So please follow me on Twitter, Angel Peace Joy. Description box, my Facebook video response or whatever. Let's keep the conversation going. Bye.